China's top-tier open strategies are essentially unsolvable. When it comes to playing strategic games, we are thousands of years ahead of the little Japan in terms of mastery. From circling Taiwan to circling Japan, from slicing off the separatist regime in Taiwan piece by piece, to slicing down Japanese militarism piece by piece, Japan has already jumped into the epic trap we dug for it. When the Ministry of Foreign Affairs reveals the enemy state clauses, and when the warning that all of Japan may become a battlefield echoes around the globe, everyone sees clearly how firm our strategic resolve is in choosing Japan as the target. Whether it is for historical reckoning or global deterrence, Japan is certainly the best choice. But the problem is, China has always emphasized the principle of having a justified cause for war. Beyond the unresolved historical issues of Japan's invasion of China, and beyond the international legitimacy rooted in the UN Charter and the enemy state clauses, there must also be a practical, reality-based justification to serve as the starting point of our strategic narrative. And that justification is Japan's claim that Taiwan constitutes a threat to its survival. To speak frankly, regarding Taiwan, we have always hoped to resolve the issue without firing a shot. After all, Taiwan is Chinese territory, and it has the world's most advanced semiconductor factories, treasures of the entire Chinese nation. If a war destroys them, it would be heartbreaking, and we would have to spend our own money rebuilding, so we are reluctant to let it become a battlefield. But separatist forces on the island will never surrender on their own. So how do we resolve the Taiwan issue without using force? The answer is simple. Encircle the point and strike the reinforcements. Why do separatists dare to resist reunification by force? Because they believe the US and Japan will back them, that the mainland doesn't dare fight or cannot win. But if we crush the USA and the Japanese forces coming to Taiwan's rescue in one decisive strike, sink their ships, shoot down their aircraft, send their troops to the bottom of the sea, do you believe the loudest Taiwan separatists wouldn't be the first to kneel? Once the United States is defeated and Japan is defeated, they would have no confidence left. They would spend the night sewing red flags, printing slogans, and beating gongs and drums to celebrate reunification. This is why I always say, taken alone, the Taiwan issue has no strategic meaning. The optimal move is to bring down the United States, driving it completely out of the Asia-Pacific and the Western Pacific. But after the 1993 military parade, the United States clearly grew timid and no longer dares to confront us on the front line. Recent Pentagon documents, shifting focus from China to the Western Hemisphere and homeland security, suggest the U.S. is retreating to North America and may abandon its sphere of influence in the Asia-Pacific entirely. Even the RAND Corporation, which normally urges Washington to deploy troops whenever it dislikes someone, has for the first time advised the White House to abandon strategic ambiguity, explicitly oppose Taiwan independence, and support peaceful reunification with China. Their report argues the U.S. can exchange this for retaining certain strategic interests in the Western Pacific, especially maintaining control over Japan and South Korea. R&D is indeed old ginger, sharp, and insightful. If the US goes to war with China to protect Taiwan, it will certainly lose. The consequences, Taiwan, Japan, and South Korea would all be lost, and the US will lose its entire Asia-Pacific influence. But if the US SQPRT's reunification, it might reach a strategic compromise with us and preserve some of its influence. Based on current responses, Trump seems to have accepted Rand's recommendation. However, as the U.S. steps back, Japan jumps forward. Senate Takaichi keeps shouting, Taiwan's crisis is Japan's crisis. And the self-defense forces follow her lead, releasing videos threatening to open fire on China. Though dealing with Japan is not as globally impactful as dealing with the US, the effect within the Asia-Pacific is the same. The U.S. power network in Asia relies on geographical linkage among Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and the Philippines. If China regains Taiwan and pulls out the nail that is Japan, U.S. influence in South Korea and the Philippines becomes isolated pockets, surrounded, unable to break out, destined either to surrender or be wiped out. This is why China's response this time is unprecedented, both diplomatically in global announcements and militarily in deterrence signaling. Many ask, Japan has provoked China for years. Why strike so hard now? The reason is simple. The strategic timing has matured. Talking tough in the past had no use. Now, with the historic moment of Taiwan's peaceful return approaching, anyone who jumps out, Japan or the US, will be struck. The key to reunification without war is killing the chicken to scare the monkeys and ambushing the reinforcements. Only by destroying Taiwan's separatist foreign backing can we make them despair and surrender without a fight. Some may ask, what if Japan, like the US, chooses to remain timid and doesn't dare take action? That's where China's master-level open strategy shows its brilliance. We left Japan no room to retreat. From console zoo using violent metaphors like beheading, to CCTV commentators mocking Japan's prime minister as kicked in the head by a donkey, to the foreign ministry notifying all countries at the UN of the conditions for striking Japan, all of this detonated Japan's far-right emotions. The right wing inside the self-defense forces is hysterical, deploying missiles near Taiwan's surrounding islands, releasing videos claiming readiness to fire. In such an atmosphere, Senate Takeichi cannot back down. If she retreats, she instantly becomes a national traitor to Japanese ultranationalists. Her political career ends on the spot. And China's real goal is precisely her stubbornness. The more she resists, the more justification we gain to tighten the noose around Japan. To put it bluntly, whether Japan sends troops or not, the moment they make such statements and refuse to retract them, we gain full moral legitimacy. From here on, China will slice Japan like salami politically, militarily, and geopolitically, step by step reducing its strategic space. Routine naval and air patrols around Japan. Why not? Taiwan is an island, and Japan is also an island. Bringing the Ryukyus into open discussion, not just with Japan, but within the UN framework, within post-World War II international law targeting defeated nations, discussing them with the US, Russia, and all relevant countries. Japan must clearly state whether it accepts the Potsdam Declaration's treatment of it, and whether it must retreat to its four-home islands. If it refuses, then it violates international law, proof that militarism remains unpurged. Routine military drills off Japan's coast or, under UN documents, restoring stationing rights. These are all valid options. Japan is a defeated nation. As long as our actions have U.N. backing and international legal authorization, we can proceed boldly. If Japan lashes out in desperation, perfect, just what we want. Old debts and new debts can be settled together. If Japan stays calm, we continue tightening the leash politically, economically, and militarily, slicing off its remaining strategic space until a comprehensive containment structure is established. As the situation reaches its final stage, there are only two outcomes. The U.S. accepts reality, negotiates a compromise, and agrees to withdraw from the Asia-Pacific with some dignity, in exchange for arrangements regarding the transfer of Japan's industrial assets and remaining wealth. Relations rupture completely. A full-scale war erupts in Japan. The four main islands are reduced to ruins. The U.S. withdraws after defeat. Its global hegemony collapses, and Japan becomes the next Ukraine. In the end, Japan is not Taiwan. Taiwan is our own territory. If damaged, we must pay to rebuild. So China will not allow it to become a battlefield. Japan is different to the US. Japan is just an ally. Allies exist to be sacrificed. To China, Japan is an old historical enemy that still refuses to repent. So whether Japan survives or perishes, whether its islands face gentle rain or missile storms, neither China nor the US will frown. Japan will never have Taiwan's luck. So stop saying Taiwan's crisis is Japan's crisis. Taiwan will be fine. Its future will be brighter and more prosperous. It is Japan, without a doubt, that will face disaster. Japan's fate is either being used up and discarded by the US, or being annihilated in a war where two great powers cannot coexist.